Hi, my name is Zach Simmons, and this is my Chicago Bears Journal. So right now we're going against Green Bay. It's the game that determines the outcome of the season for the Chicago Bears. Will the Bears make playoffs? This is a true test. Now, before anyone gets their hopes up, just remember, this is Green Bay we're talking about. How many years have the Bears' playoff hopes been crushed by the Green Bay Packers? So, and also remember the last time we beat Green Bay at Lambeau, I believe it was in 2012 when Josh McCown came in to Lambeau Field, but also Corey Rutan injured Aaron Rodgers. So that was a game pretty much with only one half of Aaron Rodgers. So it's been a while since the last time the Bears actually beat the Packers at Lambeau with their starting quarterback. So, but at the same time, you have to remember it is plausible. It is possible for the Bears to come out of Lambeau with a win. So, before we start going to that, let's talk a little bit about last game. Now, Trubisky looked good he looked decent against the Giants. Had one really good half in the second half against the Giants. Played two good games against Detroit. So, but the problem is, Detroit, New York, not very good defenses. Not very good defenses at all. But Dallas, though, Dallas is a top 10 defense. So what does Trubisky do against Dallas? Plays his best game of the season, one of his best games, if not the best game of his career against Dallas, against a top 10 defense. Trubisky goes out there, matches like Dak Prescott did in his first drive, and then did that 3 more times, 2 more passing touchdowns for him, plus a rushing touchdown to put the game away. And the Bears defense did a very good job against a very good quarterback in Dak Prescott. Stopped him for 3 quarters, let him have his quarter in the fourth, but let's be honest, that's just garbage time. Even though Bears only won by 1 possession, the Dallas Cowboys got all their points except for the first touchdown, the first drive of the game. The rest of the points came in the fourth quarter in garbage time. So, Bears looked very, very good without Akiem Hicks. Now we add Akiem Hicks into the mix, and this defense looks almost unstoppable. They're not the same force that they were last year, that's for sure. You're not seeing interceptions like we did last year. You're not seeing sacks like we did last year. We're not seeing forced fumbles like we did last year. But yet, this is still a very, very good defense, and when you add Akiem Hicks to the mix, this is a frightening defense. But then, let's see, the story of the Chicago Bears this year, it hasn't been defense. Last year we thought defense. This team is a defensive team. Trubisky just needs to play good enough to not lose the game. Let the defense do their jobs. Trubisky just played decent. But the story of this team right now is not that the Chicago Bears defense is back. Monsters in the midway. No, it's Mitchell Trubisky. Trubisky has played great. He has played almost flawlessly. Against Dallas, I can think of only one, maybe 2 mistakes. One of them was a pick, a terrible throw. I'll give him that, but look at what he did to turn that around. He didn't just stop and say, okay, this is going to be a little bit harder than what I thought. No, he answered with 4 touchdowns. So give the guy a break. I apologize. That first drive, he did answer the points. He did throw that interception in the first drive, but he was able to get into the red zone. Bad throw, bad decision. However, he was able to turn it back around. This is one good team, one good offense. In the last couple weeks, Trubisky has outplayed Aaron Rodgers. Now, Rodgers is still good. I respect the guy. He's a good quarterback. I don't think any Bears fan would say otherwise. He's a good quarterback, a quarterback to be feared. But Trubisky has played better. Rodgers, stats-wise, he's still a little bit on the rise. More touchdowns, less interceptions, higher passer rating than Mr. Trubisky. But if you look at how they're playing, it's obvious Aaron Rodgers is going downhill slightly, and Trubisky's on the rise. This trend continues, I would say. And I'm not I'm not a fanboy. I'm not here just saying all this Chicago Bears stuff because I'm a fan. I'm also a realist. I said before, the Bears, it's going to take a miracle to get the playoffs. I said that Trubisky needs to really show something, otherwise he's going to be left behind. We're not going to bring him back in 2020 or 2021. I'm a realist. But I will say that Trubisky might actually be a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers right now. Right now, Week 15, 2019, Trubisky might be the better quarterback. Not saying that he's going to have a better career than Aaron Rodgers. Not saying he's having a better year than Aaron Rodgers. But right now in the year, Rodgers has gone down, Trubisky has gone up, and at this point, Trubisky, I would say, is the better quarterback. And I'm not the only one saying this as well. There's other people in the national media saying that Trubisky is looking good. Trubisky might be better than Aaron Rodgers. So what is it going to take to beat this team? What is it going to take to beat the Packers? Well, it starts first and foremost with Mitchell Trubisky. He's got to still play at this high level. He needs to be able to play against this Green Bay defense that completely shut him down in week 1. But what it really comes down to is he needs to run. See, a lot of things happen when he runs the ball. Particularly, you're forcing Green Bay to use a QB spy. So a lot of the times, this is an outside linebacker, middle linebacker. Rarely do you see an interior defensive lineman, and you rarely see a cornerback playing the spy. It's usually going to be an outside linebacker and an inside linebacker. So what does this do? Well, if Trubisky is showing himself to be electric in the running game, you're going to have a spy on him. If it's an edge rusher, you're losing a potential blitzer. Now, this guy could end up blitzing later on. It could be a delayed blitz. But for a few seconds, you might not have another guy in your face, meaning that you're probably looking at 3 guys blitzing instead of 4. So this means Trubisky has a little bit more time. Also, what it means, that edge rusher and the middle linebacker, both of them very well could be in coverage, meaning that you're losing a coverage guy and you're having them play a little bit more broader coverage to compensate for losing a guy in coverage. So this means Trubisky either has more time or he has less or broader coverage that he has to throw to, which for a quarterback of his caliber, he can do it. He can make those throws. Yes, as he throws something, we're wondering what in the world are you doing? Sure. But he can still rip apart a defense. So Green Bay needs to be careful, because if you adjust more to Trubisky's running, which given you have to, it can also be a dangerous move. This is one of the reasons Minnesota, one of the reasons Trubisky's played very well against Minnesota. They have that QB spy, and Trubisky makes that spy look silly, even when it's someone like Anthony Barr. So Trubisky's got to move around. It opens up various opportunities in the passing game, but also in the running game. It helps out David Montgomery a lot. It's what you're seeing right now with Lamar Jackson and Mark Ingram. No one knows for sure who has the ball. Is it Ingram or is it Jackson? So the linebacker has to make a choice. Who has the ball? Is it Lamar? Is it Ingram? They're going to have to bite either way. This happens with Trubisky very often. You saw this against Dallas. That these linebackers, either they're biting on Trubisky or they're hesitating for a split second. That split second could mean there's a little bit more of an opening for David Montgomery to get through and to pound the rock. There's a little bit more of a hole for him to find. And we all know Montgomery, he can find that hole. Sometimes he can even create a hole, breaking a couple tackles to gain a couple extra yards. So Trubisky's run ability is more than just gaining the first down, gaining a few yards. You're gaining more opportunities on plays that he's not going to run. And you're also gaining more opportunities for David Montgomery. You're opening up the run game for Montgomery and for Cohen. So it's very important that Trubisky right off the bat shows off his legs. And it's even more important that this offensive line can stop any rush that comes near Trubisky. Because this defense, they know what Trubisky's going to do. They know he's going to run the ball. So as long as there's good blocking that they can't get to Trubisky, I think Mitch will have a fantastic game against Green Bay. His best, probably. It can easily be his best game against a division rival. And that's saying that he's put up 3 amazing games against Detroit. So definitely a big opportunity here for Mitchell Trubisky, and this will silence all the doubters if he can perform well in Lambeau. Now defensively, there's one thing you have to do defensively. It's beyond coverage, because right now these receivers are not that good. Devontae Adams is very good, but you have Marquez Valdes-Scantling, not really too much of a factor. You have Geronimo Allison, also not that much of a factor. Jimmy Graham, it's almost like he retired. You can't really tell where he is. Once they're throwing the ball, he can't make the play half the time. So it doesn't come down to coverage. It doesn't even come down to stopping Aaron Jones. What it comes down to is getting to Aaron Rodgers. Bad things happen when you give Rodgers time. And the thing is, you can't just blitz Rodgers. That's not how this works. You can't just blitz the guy. Because Rodgers, that's what he likes. He wants you to blitz him because what he'll end up doing is sliding a little bit to the left, sliding a little bit to the right, roll out a tad bit, and then he's got a lot of space. He wants you to pick the wrong hole, and then he'll just move around. He has time, and that's when bad things happen. That's when he launches it. All these big plays, all these signature plays that we see from Rodgers always happens when the defense can't figure out how to blitz Rodgers properly. So what you have to do is it goes beyond just getting to Rodgers. If your goal is to get to Rodgers, more than likely you're going to fail. Floyd's had a lot of problems with this when it comes to his instincts of what to do when you get near the quarterback. Do you go for the tackle? Which lane do you go through? And also, do I go up and jump and try to tip the pass, or do I go for the sack? That's Floyd's biggest issue. And when it comes to rushing around, Rodgers will make you miss. He's expecting you to come and get him. He'll make you miss. So it's beyond rushing Rodgers. You need to contain Rodgers. Make sure that he can't move in the pocket. We don't think of him being a scrambler. It's because he doesn't really go past the line of scrimmage too often, but he'll slide around and to make himself more space. And these tackles, these guards, they know what they're doing. They'll make sure that they can do that they can make Rodgers move outside the pocket a little bit, and then Rodgers has a couple seconds to throw a dart to Davante Adams. So the Bears need to do is play a more contained game. Make sure he has no place to go. Make sure he stays in that one spot. Not saying that you give him more time that way, but it eliminates him moving around, sliding out to the outside, and throwing a dart. So that's what you got to do against Rodgers. Contain him. A lot of that happens with Mack and Floyd, those edge rushers. You come down, you contain. You might see this a little bit with Buster Skrine. That might be a good option for them, is have some cornerback blitzes with Buster Skrine. Make sure you contain him to one side. So maybe try to push him a little bit to the right. You see if Skrine's blitzing to the left, to Rodgers' left. Maybe what could help is if you slide a little bit to the right, you have Mack, they're expecting that little swing around from Rodgers. It's all about contain. You have to contain the guy. Not saying that you give him all this time, you just contain him and you let him have 5 seconds in the pocket. No. But while you're blitzing, while you're trying to get to Aaron Rodgers, you need to make sure you contain him. If you can contain him, you eliminate a lot of the big plays. Especially when you have guys like Akeem Hicks and Bilal Nichols and Eddie Goldman come up the middle. When you contain him, he's not going to have anywhere to really go. Because once they start pushing the interior line, because the interior line is a little iffy for Green Bay, they're not spectacular. The tackles are where the talent is at. So if you can do that, if you can make sure he can't move to the left, can't move to the right, and you have Goldman, you have Nichols, and you have Hicks, move the offensive line into Rodgers. Rodgers all of a sudden has no place to go. And more than likely, Rodgers will be going down. So that's how you play against Rodgers. It's not so much, well, you have to have good coverage because he's a great quarterback, so you have to make sure every single possibility is covered. No, it actually comes down to the blitz game. That you blitz properly against him. Because what he wants you to do is play sloppy. He wants you to play a little bit desperate and just going for the sack. You have to play as a team, play as a unit, and contain him while going for the sack. That's the only way you can sack Aaron Rodgers. So that's what it comes down to. It's really not that difficult, and this is a game that's definitely winnable for the Chicago Bears. But you also have to remember, our playoff hopes have died in Green Bay before. So anything can happen in this game. Prepare for the worst, because if we lose this game, it's over. We have a better shot of beating Green Bay than we do beating Kansas City next week. So if we can't beat Green Bay, more than likely we can't beat Kansas City. If we beat Green Bay, that can keep the momentum rising, and we can potentially beat Kansas City. It'll be a tougher game, that's for sure. But we'll talk about that when we get there. But right now, we have to beat Green Bay. So if we lose, it's done. So prepare for that, because it's happened before. Even if we're winning 21-0, when you have Aaron Rodgers, anything is possible. So Trubisky needs to play well. Defense needs to blitz properly. That's what it comes down to this game. I do not have a prediction for this game simply because I cannot say fully that Green Bay will win this game, which is a great thing as a Bears fan. How many times have we been going against Green Bay and said, oh, I'm not sure if we can win this game. I'm not sure if we have the talent to do this. Green Bay is really good. This is a game that I can actually say, all right, Green Bay might actually be a possibility. I'm not going to say Green Bay is going to win, but also the Bears need to play perfectly. We have to play at a higher level than we play against Dallas. And with Akiem Hicks, it's definitely possible. But also losing Javon Wims, it hurts a little bit. Because now Taylor Gabriel's out, Wims is questionable, we don't really know exactly what's going on with him just yet. So that's going to hurt us if he ends up being out. Because then we're going to heavily rely on Riley Ridley, who I like, but I'm not sure when put all my faith and hope onto Riley Ridley, a 4th-round rookie. But we will see. It's definitely plausible. Trubisky has a very good shot to prove everyone wrong. Because if he beats Green Bay at Lambeau, he's going to be a legend. If he can take this team that, talent-wise, we shouldn't be above 500 right now. So if he can take us from being a team that probably should be in the bottom 16 to being a playoff team, the guy is a legend. I think Trubisky has a bright future here in Chicago, but this is his biggest test yet. What can you do with playoffs on the line against Green Bay in Green Bay? So it'll be a good game regardless. If we win or lose, it's going to be a really good game. I'm looking forward to watching it. But just make sure you keep your hopes a little bit down. It makes a win so much more enjoyable, but also it helps the loss be a little bit more comforting. So I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching.